Deep in the heart of the emerald jungle, where ancient trees touch the clouds and mysteries lurk in every shadow, a mighty roar breaks the dawn's silence. But this time, something's different. The roar that once made even the bravest creatures tremble now carries a slight quiver, barely noticeable to most, but unmistakable to those who know. This is the voice of King Leo, the magnificent lion who has ruled these lands for a decade. His golden mane, though still impressive, has started showing streaks of silver. His eyes, while fierce and commanding, now hold a wisdom that comes only with time, and perhaps a hint of weariness. For 10 years, Leo's leadership has brought peace to the emerald jungle. He settled disputes between the chattering monkeys and the grumbling bears, protected the deer from overzealous hunters, and maintained a delicate balance that allowed all creatures to thrive. But now, as the jungle awakens each morning, whispers travel from tree to tree, carried by curious parrots and gossiping squirrels. "Have you heard?" they say. "King Leo's roar isn't what it used to be. The great king seems tired these days. Who will lead us when he can no longer patrol our borders?" These whispers grow louder with each passing day, like leaves rustling in an approaching storm. The younger lions in the pride have begun to stand taller, their muscles tensing with ambition. The wise old elephant, keeper of jungle memories, watches silently as the hierarchy that has kept peace for so long begins to shift. But King Leo isn't finished yet. Though his joints may ache and his steps might be slower, his heart still burns with the fierce devotion that made him king. As the sun sets on another day in the emerald jungle, his roar still commands respect, a reminder that even as change approaches, some legends never truly fade. This is just the beginning of a tale that will shake the very foundation of the jungle's ancient order. For in the shadows of the great trees, destiny is stirring, and a new chapter in the jungle's history is about to unfold. Deep in the heart of the ancient jungle, where shadows dance between towering trees and whispers travel on the evening breeze, something extraordinary was about to unfold. The jungle elders, keepers of age-old wisdom, had called for a grand council, one that hadn't been summoned in over 100 years. You see, the jungle needed a new leader, someone who could guide all creatures through the changing times. As the moon rose high above the canopy, animals from every corner of the vast wilderness gathered in the sacred clearing. The air buzzed with excitement and anticipation. 4 remarkable candidates stood before the assembly. First was Zuri the cheetah, her spotted coat gleaming in the moonlight. Known throughout the lands for her lightning speed and fierce determination, she had protected countless smaller animals from danger. When she spoke, her voice carried the wind's confidence. "I can reach any part of our jungle within moments, ready to help those in need." Then there was Mambo the gorilla, his silver back reflecting wisdom earned through years of resolving conflicts between different animal groups. His gentle eyes held ancient knowledge, and his powerful presence commanded respect. "Through strength and understanding," he rumbled, "we can build a peaceful kingdom." Kaya the elephant stepped forward next, her massive form moving with surprising grace. Despite her tremendous power, she was known for her gentle heart and had often used her strength to clear paths after storms, helping rebuild homes for smaller creatures. "Leadership," she trumpeted softly, "is about lifting others up." Finally, Raja the python slithered into the circle, his scales shimmering like jewels. The most mysterious of the candidates, he was renowned for his strategic mind and ability to solve complex problems. "With patience and cunning," he hissed thoughtfully, "we can outsmart any challenge that threatens our home." As the council commenced, the jungle held its breath. Who would wear the crown? Each candidate brought unique strengths, but only one could lead them all into the future. The greatest test of leadership was about to begin, and the fate of the jungle hung in the balance. Chapter 3. The trials begin to rule the jungle. They must pass 3 ancient trials. 1. The trial of strength. 2. The trial of wisdom. 3. The trial of unity. Each trial will test more than their abilities. It will test their hearts. Welcome, brave souls, to Chapter 3 of our journey, where the legendary trials await those who dare to prove themselves worthy. These ancient tests have challenged countless heroes throughout history, each one designed to reveal the true essence of a champion. Let's begin with the trial of strength, but don't be fooled. This isn't just about lifting heavy rocks or wrestling mighty beasts. No, this trial delves deeper into what strength really means. It tests not only physical might, but the power of will, the strength to stand up when everything pushes you down, the courage to face your fears head on. I've seen warriors with mountains of muscle fail, while those who seemed fragile at first glance emerged victorious, their inner strength shining like a beacon. Then comes the trial of wisdom, perhaps the most deceptive of all. You might think it's about solving riddles or showcasing knowledge, but true wisdom lies in understanding what you don't know. It's about making choices when there are no clear answers, about seeing beyond the obvious. Some of the greatest minds have been humbled here, learning that wisdom isn't found in books alone, but in the ability to adapt, learn, and sometimes admit when you're wrong. But the trial of unity, this is where many stumble. In a world that celebrates individual achievement, this trial reminds us of an eternal truth. The greatest victories are rarely won alone. It challenges participants to set aside their egos, to trust in others, to understand that true strength often lies in our connections with others. I've witnessed rivals become allies, strangers become family, all through the transformative power of this trial. Each trial builds upon the last, creating a journey that's more than the sum of its parts. They don't just test what you can do, they reveal who you truly are. Some enter these trials seeking glory, others seeking purpose, but all leave changed in ways they never expected. As these trials begin, remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to face your weaknesses, embrace your failures, and keep moving forward. Because in the end, these trials aren't just tests, they're transformations, turning ordinary individuals into extraordinary heroes. Are you ready to begin? The trials await and your journey starts now.
Enjoying the video, correct? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Please leave your feedback, hit like, share the content.
Chapter 5. Wisdom in the Trees. High in the ancient baobab trees, riddles and puzzles guard the trial of wisdom. Kaya solves hers by recalling ancestral tales, Mambo helps others instead of rushing, and Zuri uses speed over thought. Raja cheats again, but a wise owl notices. The jungle was never meant to crack. For generations, our ancestors lived in harmony beneath these ancient branches, where sunlight dappled the forest floor and birdsong mixed with the gentle rustling of leaves. But today, something different hangs in the air. Something heavy, like the stillness before a storm. I remember when the first signs appeared. It started with whispers among the trees, sideways glances between old friends. The cheetahs, those proud sprinters who once shared their kills with others, now gathered in exclusive groups, their spotted coats blending together as they rallied behind Zuri. Their eyes gleamed with a new kind of determination, a fierce loyalty to their chosen leader. Up in the canopy, where sunshine breaks through in golden shafts, the apes beat their chests in a different rhythm now. They swing from branch to branch, calling Mambo's name with growing fervor. Their once playful calls have taken on an edge, a declaration of allegiance that echoes through the treetops. And down in the shadowy undergrowth, where dew never quite dries, the serpents have their own champion. Their scales shimmer as they gather, countless bodies coiling and uncoiling in hypnotic patterns, hissing Raja's name like a sacred mantra. The very ground seems to vibrate with their collective whisper. Standing in the middle of it all is Kaya, whose heart breaks with each new division. I've watched her move between the groups, her voice carrying wisdom and plea for unity. Remember, she calls out, remember how we survived the great drought together, how we faced the forest fires as one. But her words seem to dissolve in the growing storm of discord. The jungle holds its breath now. Animals who once shared watering holes now bare their teeth at former friends. Families are choosing sides, breaking bonds that took generations to build. The air grows thick with tension, and even the youngest cubs can sense that something fundamental is changing. This is how it begins, not with a roar or a battle cry, but with the quiet crumbling of trust, the subtle shifting of alliances. Our jungle, once a testament to unity, now stands on the brink of war, and as darkness falls each night, we wonder, will tomorrow be the day when the cracks become chasms too wide to cross? Chapter 7. The Fire from Above. A lightning storm strikes, setting the northern jungle ablaze. Panic spreads, no leader is crowned. Only one question matters now: who will save the jungle? In every great story, there comes a moment when true leadership emerges from the most unexpected places. And here, in our jungle, that moment arrived with the roar of flames and the crackle of burning wood. Picture this: orange tongues of fire licking at ancient trees, smoke billowing into the once peaceful sky, and animals scattering in panic. But in this chaos, something remarkable was about to unfold. Kaya, who had always been more of a quiet observer, suddenly found her voice. With clear eyes and a steady heart, she began directing the panicked animals, creating order from chaos. Her natural instincts kicked in, and she knew exactly what needed to be done. Water carriers to the east, diggers to the west! Her voice rang out above the chaos, calm and assured. Then there was Mambo, our gentle giant. Who would have thought his massive strength, which had often been a source of embarrassment, would become the jungle's salvation? With a determination in his eyes, he approached the burning trees that blocked escape routes. Those massive muscles, previously used for nothing more challenging than reaching high branches for snacks, now lifted burning logs as if they were twigs, creating safe passages for fleeing animals. Zuri, always the fastest in the jungle, became our messenger of hope. Back and forth she raced, her feet barely touching the ground, carrying vital information between groups of animals. Water at the river bend! Safe passage through the western clearing! Her speed, once used for showing off, now saved countless lives. But perhaps the most surprising turn came from Raja. Yes, Raja, the very one whose actions had helped spark this disaster. As he watched the flames consume the home he had tried to control, something changed in him. Maybe it was the sight of former rivals working together, or perhaps the realization that true power lies not in domination, but in protection. Whatever the reason, Raja joined the effort, using his strength and influence to coordinate the larger animals in creating fire breaks. As the sun set on that fateful day, the fire finally began to die down. The jungle was scarred but standing, and its inhabitants were different. They had discovered that leadership isn't about who's the strongest or who shouts the loudest. It's about rising to the occasion when others need you most, about putting aside differences when faced with a common threat. In the end, it wasn't just about saving the jungle, it was about finding the leaders within themselves. Through smoke and flame, they discovered that true leadership isn't a position you take, but a service you give. And sometimes it takes a crisis to reveal the real leaders among us. Chapter 8. Rise of the Real Leader. Kaya organizes the rescue. Mambo lifts burning trees. Zuri races messages. Even Raja, seeing the disaster he helped cause, finally helps. Together they save the jungle. The fire brings unity.
Enjoying the video, correct? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Please leave your feedback, hit like, share the content.
In the heart of our wild kingdom, where the morning sun bathes the treetops in golden light, a remarkable change was taking place. You see, for generations, the animals had always looked to a single leader, one throne, one crown. But sometimes the most powerful solutions come from challenging what we've always known. That fateful dawn, as the mist still clung to the forest floor, the council gathered once again. The wise old owl, the brave lion, the cunning fox, and the gentle elephant each sat in contemplation of their jungle's future. The air was thick with possibility, and you could hear the whispers of change rustling through the leaves. One by one, they shared their thoughts, their experiences, their wisdom. The owl spoke of night's secrets, the lion of courage in adversity, the fox of clever solutions, and the elephant of compassion and strength. And as they spoke, a beautiful truth emerged, like a flower blooming in the morning light. No single creature, no matter how wise or strong, could embody all that the jungle needed. Each animal, from the smallest mouse to the tallest giraffe, brought something unique and precious to their wild home. The dolphin's grace in the rivers, the eagle's view from above, the ant's dedication to community, all were pieces of a greater whole. And so in that moment of clarity, they created something new, the Circle of Four. A council where wisdom, strength, cunning, and compassion would rule together, each voice equal, each perspective valued. It wasn't just a change in leadership, it was a revolution in thinking. They say the jungle has never been more harmonious than it is now, under the guidance of the Circle of Four. Because sometimes the best throne isn't a throne at all, it's a circle where everyone has a place and every voice can be heard. In the heart of our wild and ancient jungle, where countless tales have been born beneath the swaying canopy, something extraordinary happened tonight. The air is thick with anticipation as moonbeams dance through the leaves, casting silver shadows on the forest floor. You see, for generations, our jungle had known only one truth: that power came from having the loudest roar, the sharpest claws, or the most fearsome reputation. The mighty tigers would boast of their strength, the lions would parade their dominance, and even the smallest creatures would try to make themselves appear more threatening than they were. But tonight everything changed. As the full moon rose above the treetops, casting its gentle glow across our home, we witnessed something that would become the stuff of legend. It wasn't a display of brute force or a demonstration of individual might that brought peace to our troubled lands. Instead, It was something far more powerful, something that had been there all along waiting to be discovered. When danger threatened our home, it wasn't the mightiest beast that saved us. No, it was the combined effort of every creature, from the tiniest field mouse to the towering elephant, working together in perfect harmony. The parrot spread warnings through the canopy, while the monkeys created diversions. The snakes slithered silently to gather intelligence, and the deer used their swift feet to carry messages. Even the butterflies played their part, their wings creating patterns that only our jungle's inhabitants could understand. As the moon reaches its peak tonight, listening to the symphony of celebration echoing through the trees, I can't help but smile. The old ways of thinking have given way to a profound new understanding. Our jungle has learned perhaps its most valuable lesson, that true strength isn't measured by the volume of one's roar or the size of one's fangs. Real power, lasting power, comes from the quiet strength of unity. It comes from understanding that every creature, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, has a role to play in the greater story of our jungle. This is the legend that will be whispered in nests, taught in dens, and passed down through generations. Tonight, under this brilliant moon, we're not just celebrating a victory, we're celebrating a transformation. A new chapter has begun in our jungle's story, one where the measure of greatness isn't in standing above others, but in standing together with them. This is the roar of unity. Not a single voice, but countless voices joining as one, creating something far more powerful than any single creature could ever be.